Okay, here we go.
Test, 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 test.
Roll music?
Let's roll it.
Welcome to the Unknown Morning Show.
It's the show where we explore radio,
Podcasting,
TV,
gear,
gearheads,
and making money with a hot mic and other stuff too.
This is the Unknown Morning Show.
I'm Mandy Montana.
And I'm Chuck McKinley.
Let's see if I can adjust my volume here. What is on this? 1, 2. There we go. I think that did it. All right. How's it going?
It's going terrific. We've kind of had vacation. We sat there, I guess, about a couple months ago, Mandy?
Mm-hmm.
And we of our first 53 episodes, 50 were original. It was great. And we were both kind of burned out. We said, let's take some time. Let's just not do anything for a couple of months. And we did that. And then I got your email 3 weeks ago.
That sounds right.
And we had some things going on. But here we are.
Here we are.
And so we've got things going on the Unknown Morning Show. It's a wonderful Saturday. And we are Big Chris. And Chris Ryan, I've got to introduce, it's Chris Ryan.
Welcome, Chris.
How are you?
We're
doing well.
We're big on origin stories. And I have to sit there and confirm this, Chris, because it's kind of like stories of the Yeti and stuff. It's gone around for a long time. And that is on how you were discovered. I have heard at a Gilmer Dairy Queen by Randy Ritchie. Is that true?
Well, I'm going to tell you the story.
Yes.
And you're right, Chuck, that I've heard different variations of the story over the years, that different people were the ones that came in the Dairy Queen. But it was definitely Randy Ritchie, Charlie O. Douglas.
Yes.
So I had just graduated high school. I think I was going to Kilgore Junior College. I was working at the Dairy Queen in Gilmer. And it was getting close to closing, like probably on a weeknight. It wasn't very busy. And I see this car pull up to the front with Minnesota license plates. And I'm like, what is this? This guy gets out, and he comes in, he kind of has long hair, and he has an earring in, and this is Gilmer, Texas. So I'm like, this guy.
What's that?
Yeah, I would know this guy if he lived around here. So he came in, and he ordered 2 chili dogs, I believe. And he's kind of staring at me as I'm taking his order. And so I'm going back to make his chili dogs. I'm thinking, I think this guy wants to fight. He's not from around here. He's definitely giving me some sort of look. I think he wants to fight. I don't know why I thought that. So I made his chili dogs, and I gave him 2 and he paid, and he walked out. And then as soon as he walked out, he walked back in, and I'm still standing there. And he goes, hey, man, you've got a great voice. Come up to Mount Pleasant, and we'll put you on the radio. And he left. Well, I didn't have a lot going on. I was never a good student. Kilgore College was not working out for me. Great school, but I don't know. I wasn't into it. I needed something. So about a week later, I'm like, I'm just going to drive up there to Mount Pleasant. And there was only the one station. I knew what station it was, even though he didn't say it. It was KPXI. So I get in the car and I'm driving. It's about 40 minutes, drive up there. It's pouring rain. I remember that. And I stop, I don't know, maybe a McDonald's or something halfway there for some breakfast. And it dawns on me that I don't know this guy's name. So what am I? I'm going to walk in the front door of a radio station and go, some guy told me to come up here and he's going to put me on the radio. So, yeah, then I started getting really nervous. Then I started thinking, that sounds like a prank that I would play on someone.
Yeah.
Come down to KLTV. We'll put you on TV.
Yeah.
So I get there, I get inside, and as soon as I open the front door, he walks around the corner and he goes, Dairy Queen guy. I was like, yeah. So they brought me in the office. Randy was not, he was the assistant program director. The program director was Andy Roman. And they're like, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to give you a weekend job. You'll be running like our Rick-D's or anything like that, where I'm not really on the air. I'm just, pushing buttons.
You bet.
You've done it. You both
Yep.
of you have done it.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Can you show up on time?
Yes.
That's the question.
Yeah.
Yes.
Get your glory point by doing the ID or something like that.
I did not think anything about me being on the air. I was just happy, this was cool. A radio station. I love music. So I said, yeah, I'll do that. And so they put me on the schedule to come in and I thought just run, I think it was Rick D's. on CD. I don't think I'd ever played a CD in my life, so that they had to teach me how to do that. So I'm just going to keep going with this story because it goes right into that first time I drive up there to work. So I get there at 6 o'clock. My shift was 6 to midnight. And I've listened to Rick Dees. I didn't know how long the Rick Dees show was, though. You could have asked. I don't know. It's always on. Every weekend I turn it on, and it's on, sometimes 2 or 3 times.
Magic.
Yeah, it's great. I don't know how it works. So I get there, and there's this part-time guy who's on the air. Really nice guy. He's really calm. He's a really calm guy. And KPXI at the time was like an adult contemporary, kind of I don't know.
So they weren't full rock yet?
No, they had been rock. This was after rock, and then it came back to rock, and I'll get to that. But this was, I don't know, Mariah Carey. He had to tell me how to say her name. She had just come out into some really sleepy 70s, middle-of-the-road yacht rock type stuff. Anyway, I was just happy to be there. The guy was super nice, and, we're just chit-chatting, and he goes, okay, well, you're about to be on the air. Do you have any questions? I go, no, I'm running Rick Dees. He goes, yeah, Rick Dees starts at 8. You're on the air for 2 hours before that. Oh, I'm like in panic mode. It's 15 to 6. I don't know what's going on. He's like, it's no problem. I'm going to help you. The guy, again, I wish I could remember the guy's name. Really nice. And as we're getting up to it, I'm really getting nervous, and he's showing me, you push this, you turn this, you're going to start the song. Here's the liners are all written out, insert your name here. And then he proceeds to tell me that his main job is he's a bounty hunter.
Oh!
Okay, and he said, I just got back from Mexico, and I can't remember the guy's name at the time, but some famous drug lord or something that had just been captured, and I guess he said he was in on that. And then he showed me that he had a gun in his waistband. So now it's probably 5 minutes to 6. I'm about to go on the air for the first time alive, not knowing that this was going to happen. This guy's got a gun on him and some sort of bounty hunter for drug lords, and it was just the craziest scene. But then I cracked the mic and I did the break, and he hung out for the 2 hours with me and kind of helped me out. And I was so happy to hear Rick Dees go on, because that meant I was off the hook. You could just push buttons now. But yeah, it was crazy.
There's not a tape of that somewhere, is there?
Oh, no, I wish,
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the story of the guy with the gun that taught me how to be on the radio unexpectedly.
Wow.
So how long were you at X100, Chris?
Let's see, I probably started there in, I think, December. That's what my... remember, we used to have license.
Yes.
Remember the truck? Yeah.
You had to have third class at least.
Yeah. So I got my license, and it had December on it. So I probably started in December, and I probably left early fall of the next year.
Okay.
So I want to say I started December 90, and 91 fall I left. But in that time, what happened at KPXI was, like I said, when I got there, it was a full staff. Andy Roman, Andy Connell, well, I think was his real name, was a PD, really nice guy. He was really into Star Trek, though. I don't know if you ever met him, Chuck, but
no,
really.
Was he
really,
in Dallas? Was he in Dallas radio, Andy?
He might have been. I know he came from El Paso, and he bounced around.
The name is just ringing some bells a little bit, but go ahead.
Really nice
Big
guy.
Trekker guy, huh?
Big Trekker. I mean, like would wear the shirt.
Really?
Not sarcastically.
I mean, like a Captain Kirk shirt?
Yeah, with the little emblem on it. Like he was ready in case they showed up and said, hey, we need some help.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So he's like wearing the uniform shirt, not like a Star Trek logoed shirt.
Not like this.
Not like Mickey Mouse on the,
Not like a logo on it. You're right. It was the official, probably.
Oh, my.
So anyway, I get there, and it's like I say, they're going from rock. They had been X100, which was a big rock station, right? 100,000 watts. It was awesome. It wasn't working out for whatever reason, And so they brought Andy in, and they went adult contemporary, which was, Mariah Carey and Celine Dion and Bette Midler.
Coming up next, Firefall. Stuff like that, yeah.
And I was 18 and to listen to Motley Crue and Rat, and now it's just getting into Pearl Jam and Alice in Chains. And I'm like, I don't know these people, but I learned so much. It was great. I did overnights. I went from weekends to doing overnights, and then the bank took over from the owner, and they fired everyone, and they made me the morning show.
What?
So I went from not knowing I was going to be on the air running Rick D's to mornings in probably 3 months.
So were you doing everything? If everybody else was fired.
Well, Super Breeze was still there.
Breezer, okay.
Yeah, he was helping me out.
Wow.
I don't know why they put me in charge. I really think the bank did not care. They were just like, just keep something on the air until we figure out what we're going to do with this radio station. And I think the guy that was at the bank also put his daughter at middays. I mean, it was a weird.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
So then the bank decided we're going to go country, and no offense, guys, but I was like, I'm not going to do. I'll do Mariah Carey, but I'm not going to do country.
Yeah.
It wasn't my deal. So that's when I called Randy, who was down in Tyler at KISS.
107, right? It would be before Mix, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was KISS still. And he said, yeah, come on down. We'll give you weekends, which was good because I was kind of still trying to go to school. But that is the story of KPXI, just insanity for 9 months. It seemed like years, but it was about 9 months. I mean, I was scheduling music. I didn't know what I was doing.
Weekends to overnights to mornings to weekends? How did that feel?
It was good because I was like, I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready. Yeah, I don't.
Were you doing morning solo?
Yes.
Oh,
it was mainly just back selling, front selling songs. I was trying to do some news stories. I remember this story. I would come in, at 5:30 or something to be on at 6, and I would just kind of look through USA Today. And I remember I came in one morning at 5:30, and the big boss guy from the bank was sitting there, fully dressed. Like
5:30.
I'm wearing something like this, and I get in there, and he goes, "Look, something happened yesterday, and I don't want you talking about it." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he goes, "This Pee Wee Herman deal. We're not talking about that." I don't know if y'all remember, Pee Wee Herman got in some trouble being in a movie theater.
Yeah.
Yes. I'd forgotten about that story.
He saw that story and decided he needed to come up there and head me off at the pass at 5:30. We're not talking about that.
Wow.
Okay.
That's my whole show, but okay.
Yeah.
You're the boss.
I was going to do 3 hours on that. Come on
3
now.
hours. Imitations. It was going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Pee Wee's Playhouse on X100.
I've got to throw something at you, Chris, because I'd heard this about X, and that is, in order to use the restroom, you had to go to the Stop and Rob down the street. Is that true?
Not when I was there. I mean,
I heard this from Amy Austin, and Mick Fulgham, too.
Not when I was there. As far as I remember, there was a fully working bathroom, but there was a quick stop place right down the street because there were times I would put in a long song so I could run down there and maybe get a Dr. Pepper and pack of smokes or whatever was happening at the time. Yeah.
That's why they invented Led Zeppelin and long stuff from Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. There's 15 minutes. I always tell people, look, you can make dinner, go to the bathroom, do all sorts of great stuff. We're radio people. We do things fast.
Yes, we do.
So what was it like in Tyler whenever you started hanging out with Randy Ritchie and that bunch?
It was much more buttoned up.
Yeah?
I mean, compared to what I've
learned
been through.
probably a lot more.
Yeah. I mean, what I'd been through with the bank, not knowing anything about radio and putting me in morning drive to, they had corporate guys upstairs. What was the GM's name? Do you remember, Chuck?
Don Chaney. He owned the station.
He owned it, but there was a GM who went to work at Cavender's.
Oh, Terry Cooper.
Yeah. He was a GM.
Yes.
So I got there, and I'd been growing my hair out because I could. I was old enough.
You're in radio. You want to be hip. I get it. Buy me a cup of coffee, Mandy.
Yeah.
I've seen that on other podcasts. That's literally...
Yeah, it's like a virtual tip jar. It's really that simple. So you go to the show notes, click Buy Me a Coffee, and then you have an opportunity to support the show in any way you like. Imagine yourself going to coffee with Chuck and myself and saying, hey, I like what you do on the show. I'm going to buy you a cup of coffee. Only all you have to do is click a link. It's that simple.
I'm growing my hair out. So I did weekends for a while there. Let me get through this first, and I'll get to the hair. I was doing weekends. Randy was awesome. The studios were such an improvement over what was happening in Mount Pleasant. Mount Pleasant, we were still mainly 45s, and a lot of them from. I remember Margaritaville had such a cue burn on it.
Yeah.
You'd have to quick start it. It was probably from 1976 or whenever that.
Do the thing where you quick started, go like half of Mississippi, then turn it up to miss the burn.
Yeah, or hold the record while the thing spins under it, and then you should let go.
Yep.
It takes off.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they had CDs, cart players. They had a TV in the studio, which I thought was pretty amazing. So I did weekends there for a while. Then we went to Mix, from Kiss to Mix, which is more of a adult contemporary, female-oriented station. And Randy put me in middays. The midday guy left, and I was doing middays. And by this time, my hair was pretty long. It was looking really good.
You're feeling good about the hair.
Man, I'm really, life's good.
Yeah.
When you're 20 years old and your hair looks good.
Yes,
good.
I understand. At one time I was there, not anymore.
So Terry brings me and Randy in to his office one day, and he goes, "Chris, you've got to cut your hair." And I said, "I'm not going to cut my hair. I'm on the radio."
You said that?
Yeah, I said
man.
no.
Crazy. So, but you eventually cut your hair.
I did cut my hair, but not because Terry Cooper asked me to. So,
Did you take off? Or did you
What's
stay?
that now?
Did you stay with the long hair?
Oh, yeah.
Or did he say, peace out, dude?
No, he wasn't. It was more of a request.
Gotcha.
He wasn't threatening me or anything, but he was not. This is radio. You're paying me, I don't know, $4.25 an hour. I don't know what the rate is.
Got to steal stuff out of the snack machine, sure. Yeah.
So no haircut, but we had fun there. It was more corporate. I mean, there were guys that, with suits on around the building. I wasn't used to that.
And you learn stuff from it. I mean, you get perspective as you get older in this business. And it's like the thing that I hated 20 years ago. Now I go, oh, okay, it makes sense because, or I learned a few things from this and that. And I've got 48 years almost in the business. And, it's one of those things to where, as I tell young broadcasters, there are times you're going to have to sit there and look at the 9 feet of water, just dive in and do it. I said, if I can do it, you can do it, and I'm sure you've had it where somebody has said, well, here's a position we want you to do. Would you do it? And you go, well, I don't really want to do it, but if they're asking, let's see what happens. Have you had that happen? Or was everything just kind of a natural progression?
Yeah. I think there's specifically like things you take on that you're like not excited about. Maybe they're like, so-and-so left, especially at, later on in radio. And they're like, we fired most of the people now. Now you're doing that job. Oh, well, that comes with a raise, doesn't it?
No, I've had that too.
Comes with a raise, then you're next. So
right.
Yeah. There are things that I took on that I was like, this isn't the most fun, right? Or maybe you think it's fun and then you do it for 6 months and you're like, oh man, this is not that much fun.
When I got my program directing gig at the ranch, that's what happened. I didn't get any money for it, but I had ideas on how the station should run and where it should go. And I'd had them for a long time. And if I wouldn't have had those ideas, I would have just, no, I'm fine doing afternoons and, doing, mobile DJ stuff on the weekends. I'm groovy with that. But this was something that was like, no, this is what the station's got to do, so I'll do it. But what about when you were, because I think I saw you were production director in Dallas at what station?
I started at the Edge, yeah.
Okay, so what was that? Was it something to where I always like to say nobody likes to do production. Nobody likes to be production director. And I've done it once with KTBB, and I learned a ton. How was it for you? How did you like it?
Well, let's see. I was in Tyler at KISX, and we became an R&R reporting station. I don't remember. You remember that, Chuck? I don't know if it was just our station or the market became.
Well, I had that experience in 91 when I went to KNUE. They were not a reporter. Right. And Don Chaney said, why are we not a reporter? And I said, well, because you're playing 20 songs. That doesn't make you popular with the record guys at all. They don't like that. Got to loosen up a little bit. So I spent about 6 months just calling up people on a weekly basis as a non-reporter. Hi, how are you? My name is Chuck. Let me show you what we're doing. And I would send them information. These are our currents. This is our hot recurrents. I'd put together something that was, 40 pieces of music and go, please let us be a reporter. And we became one. But so what happened?
So it was probably the same deal and almost the same time.
Probably.
92, early 93,
Yes.
probably. Yeah, something changed. Maybe they put Tyler and Longview together to make it a bigger market where it was a little more important. I don't remember.
That too, because it became a big deal.
Yeah, it became a big deal where all of a sudden Dallas record reps are coming to Tyler to take you out to lunch and talk about playing songs, and they're calling you every week. And so I started hanging out with them, and I'm like, I want to get to Dallas. And so I had
Get better lunches.
Yeah. They started putting the word out, and Joel Folger at The Edge called me and said, hey, you want to come up? I'll let you try out to be on the air. They had an overnight shift at The Edge. So I came up like a Sunday, afternoon, and it was on the air at The Edge. And I was like, wow, this is so cool. And man, we were up high. You could see all the big buildings. I'm like, man, this is great. So I went to dinner with him afterwards. He just took me to get a burger, and he was a weird dude, kind of really nice, but just kind of a strange guy to talk to. But he's like, I heard you, and you're good. You would be great on a classic rock station, but we're taking this station younger and more pop. He said, what do you think about production director? And I was like, if it gets me in the building with a full-time job, I'll take it.
Yeah.
I said, I'll let you do some weekend air shifts. So that's how I got to be production director. And then I was the voice of the station, and they were paying me $18,000 a year, which was fine. But knowing now what voices of stations make,
yes,
they were getting a good deal. In fact, after 9 months, I got a gig at the Eagle to do overnights there on air. And I went to Joel and told him, and he goes, I'll double your salary to stay here. I'm like, why didn't you do that to begin with?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't. I took the less salary and wanted to be on the air.
So you go from you're at the Eagle, I guess.
Yeah, went from the Edge program director to the Eagle overnights, and did that for 2 years overnights at the Eagle. Yeah.
And so didn't you program in Dallas too? Yeah. Okay.
So overnights, that was probably the best time in radio. I didn't think so at the time because of the hours, but I mean, it was before all the mergers.
Yes.
So I mean, the company that owned us owned a couple of stations in Arizona, maybe, and then us, and we were the only station they owned in Dallas. We were all by ourselves.
Was
we had two
Braddock
production
still on the Eagle, or had he moved over to Kiss?
No, he had moved to Kiss.
Yeah. Okay.
Probably about the same time I came.
Yeah.
To Eagle, and we were rock. And we were heavy rock because at the time, or not metal, but AC/DC, Metallica. Q102 was the big dog, but they were so sleepy. They were still like, I don't know, Fleetwood Mac.
Eagles.
Eagles. They were still living in the 70s. And then some Stevie Ray Vaughan, of course. And then once we came on the scene and we had Howard Stern doing mornings, and we were playing AC/DC, Metallica, even some overnights, man. We were playing some Megadeth and Pantera, the local guys. So Q102 didn't know what to do. So then they started playing stuff like that, but they were still putting it up against a Fleetwood Mac song, and it was just
Train wreck.
Never worked. They could never catch up. And we rolled over them eventually.
How did you like when you programmed? How did you like it? Were you able to execute your ideas?
That's the deal. I had ideas about what I wanted to do. I didn't program till like the program director. I was APD a lot, but the program director till years later. 15 years later.
Oh, okay.
Probably, after the station had gone away and come back.
Oh, that's right. It did go away and come back.
Yeah. When it went away, I went to the Edge and I did middays at the Edge again, and then came back to the Eagle when they flipped that. By the time I was programming, it was not what it had been, right? I didn't have a lot of, if I wanted to do something different, it would have to go through so many different channels to get that okay that it just became a babysitting job, pretty much.
Okay.
Babysitting talent, babysitting the station. Lots of reports to corporate. Okay, you got your music test back. What songs you putting in? Why are you putting in that song? Why this looks like it's got heavy burn? Do you have protections on that? Just things you're like, oh,
Wow.
okay. I mean, it's a good song, all right?
Yeah.
Can we get past the numbers and say, wow, this is Inner Sandman by Metallica? I don't think a lot of people are going to change the station.
Yeah.
So it just became, and that's when PPM came in, which again, they were like, instead of programming to the fans, the listeners, potential listeners, they were programming to the machine. The numbers say, don't play this song this many times. Run your stop sets at this time and this time in order to get max PPM results. I understand all that, but if you put that over content that people want, you're going to lose. And so it never felt like we were making good radio. It felt like we were just trying to game the system, if that makes sense.
Well, I know I was fortunate when I programmed the ranch, I was able to, and at the time the station was half live and half Westwood One, and classic country. It was older sounding during the day. It was a lot newer sounding at night, and I just said, we have to roll our own. We can do this. And I was so fortunate to have, Mandy was doing middays for me. Tom Perriman, legendary radio guy, did a couple hours from 9 to 11. Don Jones was doing our production, doing mornings, and I had some really good folks. It was a situation where I did not have a lot of pushback, and the feelings were generally, I think, well, if you're getting ratings and making money, they left me alone for the most part. And I was so used to situations where, if there was a consultant involved, like you do weekly calls and stuff. Ed Shane was our consultant, and I'd had a guy named Alan first when I was at KNUE, so we had to do weekly calls and stuff. And with Ed, I remember calling him after about the third week. He goes, "Why are you calling me every week?" And I go, "Well, aren't I supposed to? Don't you want?" And he goes, "Do you feel this is okay for you? Is it running right?" I go, "Yes, okay. You don't need to do this every week." I go, "Great." And then Rick Guest came to me about a month later and said, "Do we need a consultant?" I said, "No, we don't. We're fine."
Yeah.
But we really had a great time. I mean, outside of when I did...
What years was that?
It was from 06 to 2010.
Okay.
It was great. And I finally got aced out because it's the classic thing. The ops guy was the program director of Kicks in Longview. They don't want or need two country program directors. So it was the old...
Yeah, but he ran it into the ground.
Yeah. And it was the old, "Hey, Chuck, you want to come in here for a second? Chuck, will you close the door?" I'm like, "Oh, fuck, I've been on this rodeo before. Jesus." And, but at the time I was just like, I didn't say anything like, "Well, who has the best station? Who's ran?" I just said, "Fine. Okay, let's do this." But again, it's one of those things I learned about transitions. I ended up a couple of months later, Dave Moreland was at 99.3 Talk FM in the Blaze, and he was the ops guy there, and he said, "I have this little weekend chore." I said, "We're running these things, like, hour news programs off the network, and the blue screen of death is coming up, and it's killing them. So will you come in? Hey, man, $20 here and there. I just want you to take notes for me." I said, "Well, sure." And so I got pizza money and got out of the house a little bit. And at the time I was doing some gigs on the side too. So it was fine. And then it was like 3 months later, Dave says, "You want to produce a sports talk show?" And I said, "Well, what do I do?" And Dave's never done news either. He goes, "I don't know." And so I do what you do. I thought, well, they play bumper music. Let's build a music database. But I never had, and to this day, the funnest time ever was doing sports talk. It was so terrific. I built custom openers for these guys every day, and we had it set up to where, like there'd be 7 or 8 bits in it. They'd have their page and here's what's in it. So we'd kill a half, 3/4 of an hour just talking about the open of the show. And it was great fun. And it wasn't something to where it was like, okay, Chuck, answer calls. And I would ask them right away, what do you want from me? And my first, the guy that I worked with, it was his first, his show, Reed Kerr, said, I want you to play a character. And I go, what's that? You know, you're an older music radio guy, and occasionally you maybe say something inappropriate. I go, oh, okay. So it was a lot of fun. But, you know, again, and that's lasted 3 years, and we had no ratings. We had no sales. I would tell, Dave and I would talk, and I would go, we're getting beat by Camu and Mineola. How? I like Mineola. Camu's one of my favorite stations. They still do Tradio and stuff, but Jesus, how does this happen? So they folded the format. I ended up over at KTBB. I contacted Paul Berry just a rim shot. And he goes, send your stuff over. And then I get a call like 2 weeks later. They have an opening. So I go over, and next thing you know, I'm doing production. So.
Wow. Is that what you're doing now?
No, what happened was I was doing, I'll talk about the Winding Road. I was doing production, and about a year into it, Paul Gleiser said, hey, will you do news too? Fill in. And I said, I'm going, he goes, you know, if you jock, you can do news. And I go, okay. And so I just learned to ask a ton of questions, watch copy, figure out stuff. And I did that for about 4 years, but I got wore out because when it would be vacation time or holidays, I would be doing production and news, which would be like 6 to 7. And then I had a side gig doing some voiceovers for a company. And so my days would be like 6 in the morning till 10 at night. And I just got wore out on everything. And one thing led to another. And I left the company a couple of years, came back to where I'm just entirely in the newsroom with producing stories, putting things together for our 5 o'clock anchoring. Which, you know, Rosanna's right. She'd been telling me for 20 years, you should do news. And I go, no. And so but I like it. I mean, I'm at a place in town where we do time and temp during the hour. Yeah. It's not canned. My boss, Paul Gleiser, has a great passion for local radio. And we know as long as he owns the place, you know, we're probably all going to be okay. I just consider myself really, really, really lucky. I mean, I've been able to take a step here and there, and the floor has not come out from under me, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm sure, look, as a guy, and how long have you been out of regular radio?
13 years, maybe, yeah.
How does that feel? Do you miss it?
I miss what it was. I don't miss what it had become.
Yes.
Yeah, so I miss, you know, the 90s. You know, and a lot of that might be just hindsight. You know, you always look back further and you're like, oh, man, I had no worries or cares. But you probably did. You just that's not what stuck with you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I miss, you know, what it used to be in the 90s. But, you know, what it had become and what it kind of is now. You know, every few months I see news articles about, well, they let more people go.
Yes.
And I'm like, who is up there?
Yes.
It's just like, it's Wizard of Oz. It's just... He's going to open the doors. There's going to be a little guy there.
What is this going to be like? An inflatable doll and a laptop running the place? Yeah, it's
right. AI will probably be running it. So I don't know.
Well, you know and that happens. I mean, you're hearing more about that. You know, this is August 2nd, and yesterday, it's pretty much, you know, public radio is pretty much dead. That's going to be gone.
So
you know, and it's just so unfortunate that these things are happening, but. So you're entirely doing voice acting?
Now that's all I do is voiceover. Yep.
And so if you have a specialty, what is it? Or is it specially whatever pays?
Here's my, if somebody's getting into voice acting, I would say you need to do a little bit of everything because things are going to come and go. I take a lot of coaching. One of the coaches said, it's never your gig, right? You're renting it. You've got it for now, but somebody else is going to have it at some point. It's not like a job, you know, where you work at a corporate level and you're there till you quit or they fire you. I mean, the voice acting's fluid. You know, I'm the voice of this station now, but eventually they're going to make a change. I mean, this just happens, right? So I do a lot of different things. Probably the thing that I get the most, you know, work in is radio imaging voices, just because I come from radio. I totally understand that. One thing I want to get into is TV imaging voicing. But unlike radio, I have no idea how TV works. I don't know who's in charge of that. Whereas in radio, I'd like, let me get to the production guy, because what's going to happen is his boss one day is going to be like, we need a new voice. And this guy's going to be like, oh, I've got this email. This guy's pretty good. So
Okay.
TV, I don't know that, but radio imaging is probably my bread and butter. So I do lots of radio imaging voiceover.
We probably have a connection for you on that.
Yeah, why am I not in Tyler?
Well, not necessarily in Tyler, but just to know like who to talk to. I mean,
at TV?
At TV. Yeah. That's what I mean. Yeah.
Please, because I cannot crack that. I can't get anybody to respond.
Why are you pointing at me?
Because you've been on TV.
Mandy, are you in TV?
She's been on TV. She's
Sort of.
Kind of.
Sort of. So the interesting thing about how that happened is, you know, I did radio here for 20 years. Yeah. There was a time when I thought, wow, it'd be really cool to be on the radio in Dallas. But then I married my husband and all of our families here. And it just became like, oh, okay, we're just going to be in Tyler. That's cool. So I stayed here, and then I got out of radio in 2019. But I've been friendly with everybody in media. I'm just kind of a friendly person. And at a Cattle Barons event, we were hanging out with CBS 19. And they were like, you know, we thought of you for mornings, like out of the blue. And I went, why? Like, thank you, I think. But why? They're like, well, we've just, you know, we see you on Facebook, whatever we think you'd be good at it. And I was like, well, okay. I have zero desire to ever do morning TV. We're talking about a 3 a.m. wake up call, hair and makeup, blah, blah, blah. And I don't really love news. But it led to a conversation about they wanted to do, how do I describe this, Chuck? They wanted to do interviews that are sold. So they need to protect the journalistic integrity of their anchors and their reporters. So they can't do a sales interview. But they need somebody to do, you know, to talk to the business owner and ask them softball questions for 2 minutes to promote their business. So you're like, hey, would you want to do this? The next thing I know, I'm rolling up to the TV studio and I'm the anchor that does the sales interviews. And I'm using a teleprompter. And it was like, I did it. And they were like, oh, that was right on the money. Oh, you've done radio. You've done remotes. You understand time. Yes, but I don't understand this camera that's staring at me. I have no idea what I look like right now. Did that even make sense? And they were like, yeah, actually it was really good. And I'm like, are you sure you don't want me to do it again? And they were like, no, we got it.
She's great.
And I was like, okay, I guess this is a skill I didn't know I had. So I've been doing that for 2 years.
Yeah,
It'll be 2 years, I think, in October.
Because was that
it's
this
really
week?
rare.
Was that this week or last week? You were on KETK.
That's a different thing that I do, but yes.
For Hand and Stone. I took a picture of it and sent it to her. I said, TV girl.
Yeah.
But she does a really, really good job.
Thank
and
you.
I've told her, you know, I would see things on her webpage or on her Facebook, and I've said, you know, you just ooze sincerity, and you're friendly, and that works, you know.
So I did network marketing while I was in radio. Nutritional supplement sales, totally by accident, wanted to lose weight. It worked. I started telling people and they said, well, you know, use your social media account to talk to more people. So I said, okay, I can do that. So the next thing I know, I'm going live on Facebook on a semi-regular basis. So I'm learning, just trial and error, how to look at the camera and talk to it and just tell a story. And I guess through lots of practice, I got okay at it. And I think that's what they had seen. And they were like, oh, she kind of can do this. Okay, maybe.
That is a skill. I hate being on camera. Even this, I'm like.
Really?
Yeah.
I just feel like I like to hide behind the microphone and pretend nobody's listening.
Do you have the feeling where, especially with your office / man cave / studio, you know, it's yours. The only thing I share mine with is my dog. He's got his little area where he sleeps when I do stuff, when I'm sitting there working on things, or maybe. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I've got my closet where I've got his bed and everything. And, you know, he runs through his usual stuff, which is, you know, I want to go outside. I've got to go pee. Or normally on Saturdays, we're going to the park. And so he starts bugging me about that. Let's go to the park. But I understand. I've only done TV a couple of times. And when I mean a couple of times, it would be like
the TV promo for the radio station.
No, I didn't even do that.
I thought you did. I thought we went over to KLTV once and
did
that.
Do that?
Yeah.
It must have been too traumatic because I blocked that out, man.
I don't think it was a good experience for any of us.
Back when I was in Minnesota radio, they had like the Memorial Day, the Jerry Lewis Telethon, and I had to go on and do totals and stuff. And I don't know if you're familiar with broadcast news with Albert Brooks, where he's in flop sweat. Yeah, that's me. I was like that. I was like, and here's Chuck McKinley. Hi there. God, my inside. I was just like, I'm just like reading stuff and just going, I don't want to do this ever again. Because I love the fact of when we're doing what we do, like when I'm doing the afternoon show, I'm standing up, I'm kind of just leaning on the board, cozying up to the mic, sports is coming up, KTBB News Time, 5:13. I just like that. I like the fact that it's just me. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But
so you prefer to be in the studio, not like on stage announcing things. Is that what I'm hearing?
No, I don't like.
No.
Yeah.
Well, what about?
I just get real self-conscious. Yeah.
Well, what about in your big time rock and roll Dallas days? I mean, did you have to do MC stuff like, let's say Metallica's at Jerry's World or whatever was Jerry's World? Did you have to go out there and say something like, "Ladies and gentlemen"?
I told you that I'm going to tell you the story about Metallica. As far as getting on stage and introducing bands, I could kind of get into some sort of character mode or some sort of hype myself up to do it.
It is kind of isolated when you're up there, though, right? Like it's almost like being in the studio because you're so far away from the crowd and you've got a spotlight on you. It can feel, I mean, it's not like you're in a crowded room full of people and you're trying to do a sales presentation, right? It's a little bit different.
And there's energy there.
Yeah, exactly.
You can kind of feed off energy. But like in a TV like you do, I would be like, oh, man.
It's weird.
This thing staring at me.
Yeah, it's
I've
strange.
done teleprompter before. I'm horrible at teleprompter. I don't know if I might be some sort of dyslexic. I'm like, which way is this
It
going?
just takes practice.
So let me tell you about Metallica. They were playing, this was in 2000 at Texas Stadium.
Wow.
And it was an all-day deal where there was 5 or 6 bands like Linkin Park, Korn, I don't know, all those guys. And we were broadcasting from the event, but we were so high. I mean, way up, out of the way, which is where they wanted us. They wanted us out of the way. Can we do stage announcements? Not before Metallica was, that was always the deal. You can introduce these other bands, but once it's Metallica stage, we don't need you out there. So then we got word halfway through the broadcast that James Hetfield, the lead singer of Metallica, was not going to be able to perform tonight. I can't remember if he was sick. Something had happened. And so now, hey, we need somebody to go on stage and tell 40,000 people that James Hetfield's not going to be here tonight.
Ooh. And who got the assignment?
Me.
Ooh. So, what did you guys draw straws?
I don't remember. I think Cindy Skull was on the air. So she's like, I can't. I'm on the air. I think I just finished whatever I was doing. And I was like, yeah, I'll do it, whatever. So that was the longest walk with their management from way up high where we were down back to the behind the stage. And they said, okay, here's the deal. Some of the other lead singers of other bands that are here today are going to try to perform with Metallica. So there will be a show, but no James. Okay. So I go out there. I think I could have told them that, free ice cream for everyone, and they would have pelted me with beer bottles. I mean, they didn't care. They just wanted to throw beer bottles, which is what they did when I said. Luckily, they were plastic at the time.
Still.
But, yeah, James Hetfield will not be here tonight, but it's still going to be awesome. You're going to love it.
Wow.
And I had to go. And then they took me all the way
And then
back
you ran like hell.
Right. Yeah. I mean, just the crowd, they couldn't wait to hear what I had to say so they could throw the beer bottles.
I know when we would do gigs at the Oil Palace, probably when country was really going, probably early to mid 90s, we would do the all day thing. I remember there was one time, it was a Mark Chestnut show, and the KNUE van was out of commission. So I get Dave Goldman's news tracker Hyundai or whatever it is, the one that's about as, it's like 6 foot long or something. The news phone is on the hump, and I'm doing remotes from that. Fine. except about 10 feet away is Tony McCullough on the KYKX van, which has a Marty and a telescopic mast, and he's sitting there with a cordless mic, and I'm just sitting there going, Tony, you're making me look bad, man.
I thought KNUE had all the money.
And it was our show. It was our show. They totally hijacked it, but yeah. But that was one of my more memorable things. That, and there was one time the Oil Palace had, they would do the things where they would have some sort of sale. They're selling everything. Laptops are like $5 and just crap. And some lady comes up in a stroller, and it was $6 to get in, and she has like, a 6-month-old. They tag the baby $6, right? and I'm like 5 feet away. And she looks at me. She starts taking it out on me, and I go, I'm with KYKX. I was with Kicks at the time. I'm with KYKX, and it was like probably like 99 or something. I'm with the Kicks, and that was another one because our Marty at the time didn't work, so I'm doing remotes off a payphone at the Oil Palace. I'm like, Jesus. But
that's a classic.
But you get paid, and it was I had another gig where this is you do the wallet trick where like if you're at a place where they serve food and you're sitting there and you order something, you reach for your wallet and go, oh no, Mr. McKinley, your money's not good. Right. That's $3.50, sir. The sandwich, the wallet trick did not work, and I'm going, well, obviously they were happy with the efforts of yours truly. Yes. But
well, Chris, in your Dallas days, you must have met more artists that were coming through. Anything memorable that you want to share?
There was a Halloween show that the Eagle did at Starplex, and all the jocks were dressed up. They gave us quite a bit of money to go to this costume shop. So I went as Elvis.
Nice.
Like 70s Elvis.
White jumpsuit with the rhinestones?
Yeah. White jumpsuit.
Big fat sideburns.
Well, I already had those.
Okay.
So those are real. So I'm going backstage. We're going on stage. I think we were doing a costume contest with listeners. And I passed this dressing room, and Ozzy Osbourne is there, who's performing tonight. And he's like, oh, it's fucking Elvis Presley right there. I don't know what's going on. But,
that's awesome.
I've always thought that, Ozzy might have gone to the grave thinking that he met Elvis that night in Dallas. I'm not sure he thought I was somebody that was just dressed up for the night.
With the right pharmaceuticals, you know what? You can't tell.
Right.
Wow.
And there were always people up at the station. I interviewed Slash a couple of times. Came up to do overnights one night, and a couple of guys from Alice in Chains and Pantera were just hanging out in the studio with the night jock. So it was good times.
Were they nice? Typically,
oh yeah,
down to earth, really cool, or anybody? I know you don't want to like rat anybody out for being a jerk, but for the most part, people pretty cool.
Most people, yeah, I think so, and I think it was a lot of it had to do with how you presented yourself. If you made it comfortable for them and weren't trying to strong arm them, and
Yeah.
I remember this one time, I regret this. This was probably later, 2000s. They came to me and they said, hey, this just came down. Steven Tyler is going to be up here in an hour, and we want you to interview him, not on the air, but in our little performance room on camera. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I start, and what had just happened was he'd just fallen off the stage and been to rehab. And there were rumors he was going to be a judge on American Idol. All this stuff was happening, and their people said, do not talk about any of this stuff. So I'm like, oh, okay, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know why he was there. That interview did not go as like I would like, because I'm a huge fan. And that's probably another deal. If you're a huge fan, I'm sure this happened to y'all. If you're a huge fan of somebody, it's hard to interview them without sounding like Wayne and Garth.
Sure.
Yes.
Dude, you're the best.
Yeah.
Okay, you can ask questions. Yeah. No, I just can't believe you're here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I regret the Steven Tyler interview. If I had to do it again, it would have been a lot better.
I had that moment with Reba McEntire. She was at the Oil Palace. I was like, hi, Miss McEntire. Nice to meet you. Like, it was like meeting the Queen. It was one of the best shows I ever saw. It was Brooks and Dunn was just getting started, so it was Reba, Brooks and Dunn, Sawyer Brown mopping up, and Sawyer Brown terrific in concert, and they were all just great at the time. But yeah, Reba was one of the few where I was like, geez, it's like meeting the Queen of England or something. And country didn't have, we didn't have, there was never, I never had a bad experience. And one of the weirdest ones, David Allan Coe. So he's doing a show in town, and this was probably like 2008. And we were playing Never Even Called Me By My Name. I mean, you know, and maybe The Ride. I think he did The Ride, right? Yeah,
he did.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so he's being interviewed by one of the TV stations. This is David Allan Coe, so you expect he's going to say something like, "Oh yeah, I just ate some raw meat," and et cetera, et cetera. But he's talking like somebody who is essentially a CPA, very down to earth, and it just struck me for the umpteenth time. Oh yeah, show business. I get it, but
yeah. David Allan Coe, wow.
Oh yeah, but the Oil Palace
at that time. Yeah.
Oh, the Oil Palace gigs, man. I remember we had a stretch of time. Merle Haggard, they would do it to where they wouldn't let the headliner until 11 to let people drink. The problem was Haggard did it too. He just hammered on the stage. George Jones didn't show, and I forget who the other one was. We had like 3 gigs in a row that were just semi-disasters. And then we had it was a New Year's Eve gig. Amy Austin was PD. This was, I want to say probably like 95. And Kentucky Headhunters are there. And Rosie and I are driving to the show. We're going to get there. And Amy's doing some pregame with the Headhunters. And their slug line was, she's talking to us. And, hey, get on out here. Show's going to be so good. At the end of the night, we'll have Amy dancing in her panties. And she goes, it's like one Mississippi. And she goes, thank you so much, Kentucky Headhunters. Here, total pro. Like just half of Mississippi. She tags it, go to the break, and I go, awesome.
That's Amy.
And they were good too. Headhunters were very, very good. Hey, in the midst of what you were doing, you're doing rock and roll radio. Did you ever think about getting into the record business at all? Like maybe being a regional guy or anything?
I couldn't. It takes a special person to be that friendly to everyone. And I'm not that I'm not friendly, but I'm not as outgoing. These people were, they made you think I'm your best friend, right? Mm-hmm. Not that they weren't. I mean, they weren't being.
Yep. And that their artist is the absolute best of everybody all the time. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And to be able to sell something that maybe I didn't believe in, or, try to kiss up to someone that I didn't really care for, I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well, I had a shot back in, I guess it was 94. I wanted to transition to music, and I ended up making a connection. Asylum Records was going to have a country label off of, I think maybe they were rolling off of Warner's, but it was a new build. Kyle Lenning, who was Randy Travis's manager at one time, was GM. My contact was a guy named Steve Stevens. And so I had about a year or two where I would go to Nashville and visit people on the row and actively work it and, kind of balance things out from, I'm trying to work this for that, but still trying to, keep the integrity of what I do too as a music director. So I meet Steve and he says, you know what? There's going to be a place for you doing secondary promotions, which would be running all the Gavin stations. And I go, great. And he said, we can do this in 6 months. And I said, are you sure? He goes, yes. So Rosanna and I planned for the move. Moved in with her mom and her husband, put all of our stuff in storage. So time goes, and after about 6 months, I talked to Steve. It was, and occasionally I would ask him how things are going. Great, we're going to get things going. And then I finally said, look, I want you to understand something. If this isn't going to work, you tell me. We're going to part as friends. Things will be cool. So it's like a couple weeks later, I called. He's been fired. Nobody tells me about it. So I call Kyle Lenning. And I said, my name is Chuck McKinley. I'm with KNUE in Tyler, music director, APD. And my understanding is that I'm going to be working secondaries for you guys. That was arranged. Can you tell me about it? And he says, Chuck, I am so sorry, but I do not know anything about this at all.
Oh, no.
And so there was a couple independent people, indie promoters that knew this guy, and I said, please tell him to call me. And, when he called me, he says, I understand your anger. And I said, dude, we can part as friends if you tell me this. But no, you can't just leave me hanging. So it was, and my wife, being the optimist, said, we ended up buying property in Chandler that we had the farm for like 28 years. And at the time she said, maybe they'll fly you out of Athens, Athens, Texas. And I go, hon, that's not how it works. I said, we're going to stay here. And which is fine because I ended up launching my mobile DJ service and ran that for probably 15 years. Because you and Aaron, 12 years, 13 years now?
We'll be dating 14 next month.
You were my last gig.
Yeah, we got married 8 years ago.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Oh, 8 years. Okay. It seems longer. So they were my last.
Yes, it does sometimes seem longer.
I didn't mean it like that.
Everybody that's married understands.
The relationship,
sometimes it feels like yesterday. Sometimes it feels longer.
The relationship has a fullness to it. I'm trying to pick my bullshit words.
Okay, I have
correctly.
a question for Chris.
Yeah.
When I'm looking at the voiceover work that you've done, did I see that you voice over an anime character?
Several, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm curious about this because it's something that like is sort of on my bucket list that one day I would like to voice over some sort of animated character.
This guy.
Really? How cool is that?
Awesome.
So how does that come about? And like, how did you get started? And is it like an ongoing thing?
Yeah, I was there yesterday at Crunchyroll. That's who I work with, Crunchyroll.
Okay.
And we take the Japanese anime and we dub them into English. That's what we do.
Okay.
And I've been doing that for 12 years probably. And it's, probably like with any acting gig, it's I'm super busy for 3 months. And then I don't hear anything for 6 months, maybe a year. Then you land another gig or another character. We're lucky because Crunchyroll is here in Dallas, so they use a lot of local voice talent for their stuff. So that's how I got into it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm not the best at it because I don't come from an acting background. Most of the people that do it come from, theater kids.
Yeah.
And so they come at it from a much different way than I do probably. So
you never did any of that? I was curious about that too. Like Randy walks into the Dairy Queen, hears you, walks out, comes back in, but like you didn't ever do theater or anything? Did you have an awareness of the way your voice sounded?
Yeah, because people would say things, but I didn't know what to do with that. Right?
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Most people were like, "Do you sing?" And I'm like, "No, I don't sing."
Yeah.
So.
Badly. That's for me. Badly.
I would get that question a lot
right.
too in radio. They're like, "Well, do you sing?" And like, you don't want to hear me do that. You'd run the other direction. I can talk to you. I can read the phone book, but don't ask me to sing. Yeah.
Karaoke at somebody's house. That's the last time I did. New York after 2 beers.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing, but no.
New York. Yeah, it was bad.
Uh-oh, here we go.
Yeah.
I was like, are we about to get another round?
That sucks.
We've not had beer, Chuck.
No, this is just coffee, with, of course, stuff. I always thought, I think one of the things, too, that's kind of always, it's at least I always found difficult, is kind of tearing apart your voice, having that listen and going, do I like it? Why do I like it? There's sometimes I'll run for the hour. I'll take and run on the Drive at 5 show and just have a listen and go, okay, how do I sound? Am I too relaxed? Sometimes I can be a little too hypey and go, you need to be just like this. Do you find that the whole concept of basically doing self-air check, how does that set with you?
I think since I've taken all this voiceover coaching over the past 12 years, that what I try to do is not focus on the sound of my voice at all and focus on, what actors would call, what's behind that, the theme behind it. If I'm getting the story across is more important than anything than how my voice sounds at all. Especially these days, it used to be most of the 20, 30 years ago, most of the TV ads you would hear are, announcer guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Now it's not. Now it's like they do not want anything. All the auditions I do, no announcers, do not sound announcer, conversational. So it's been a deconstruction of like, do not push your voice, do not try to go here, or, you know, don't even think about what your voice is doing. You have to think about what the story is you're trying to sell and be authentic in trying to tell the story. So that is how I listen to it.
So you've had a coach for 12 years, or a series of coaches.
Several, yes.
Yeah. What prompted you to do that?
To get coaches? Because I wanted to succeed. I knew that there was a lot more going on with what I wanted to do than I was aware of. I also, not only for my craft, but also for how does this work?
Like, how do I make money at this and build a business?
How does it work? Who makes decisions?
Right.
Where do I do this? What does this need to look like?
Yeah.
You know, it would be like, you know, if somebody 20 years ago had come to me and said, I want to get into radio, and I just told them not how to be on the air, but how it works. I think that's pretty valuable.
Totally.
So that they go into the job knowing, okay, this guy makes the decisions.
Yeah.
This is what they're really concerned about, not so much this. So the coaching has been what I do, but it's also how things work, who's in charge of what.
Yeah.
What agents do I need to get? How do you get an agent? What do agents really do? Do I join the union? If I get offered to join the union, how does that work? So, it's been very educational.
I can imagine. Did you find somebody local? I'm super curious because I've only met one other person that's sort of gone this route. And he told me a little bit. He was a program director in Tyler for a little while. But he was like, Mandy, you could do this if you wanted to. He was like, you could get an agent. I could help you, blah, blah, blah. But he also was kind of like, going through some deep personal stuff, as some radio ops guys are. And it wasn't the best time to take guidance from him, if you know what I mean. So lovely individual, but just bad timing on taking mentoring from him. But he was like, you know, there is a route for this. But in Tyler, nobody tells you there's a route for that, right? I mean, how did you come across it in Dallas? Like, how did you find your way?
Well, I mean,
you clearly are super talented too. So somebody's going to hear your voice and be like, I want that guy. Let me help him.
There are people that hire me just because of the way my voice sounds, but they don't pay a lot. The people that are the big gigs, you want to be a national TV ad.
Right.
Voice is the last thing they want. They don't care about the voice. They want who's going to tell our story, who's going to represent our brand the best.
Gotcha.
Right. So, to get to that level requires somebody coming for radio, requires a lot of deconstructing of what you thought was important. Like Randy came into the Dairy Queen and wanted to put me on the air just because of my voice. He had no idea what my personality was.
Right.
Like a psychopath. You know, right? Just
got
the
lucky.
voice. But now I have to be like, the voice doesn't matter. I mean, I have to be able to tell the story, or they're going to be like, no, next. Who's it?
I was telling Mandy this morning, I said, just go Chris Ryan voice, Google that, check out his website. I was listening to some of your stuff, I think Thursday night, and I was just going, you know what? If you were even inspiring to do this, you'd say, oh, I can't. Listen to this guy. He's great. He's fantastic.
Well, what I do is when I watch TV and I hear the people that are booking these big gigs, they don't sound like me, most of them. I mean, unless it's a truck commercial or a beer commercial, you know, most of it's like, remember the guy that we used to work with, Chuck? Danny
Stapleton?
Yes. He would be a great voice actor right now because he just had a real like guy next door. He was kind of meek and just kind of, Wow. So I think about people like that sometimes that are like, because sometimes people hear my voice and they're like, okay, announcer. Even though I'm not trying to sound like an announcer. My voice is just big and heavy.
Yeah.
So I have to kind of run away from that at times, which is odd. It's what got me where I am, but it's also kind of holds you back.
Okay. So, go ahead.
No, I just thought that was an interesting note that like sometimes what you think is your strength can also sometimes backfire on you at moments.
You get like pigeonholed or typecast.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, oh, this guy's definitely an announcer, and I'm not announcing. Right.
Right.
But it just sounds that way.
And I've never been in a coach situation. I mean, I've had people say, just listeners or people, you sound good. And I say, I talk. I just, I don't, it's not that I don't have awareness. It's just, I know kind of what I want to do and can ballpark it. And then if I'm listening, I go, okay, my head is said for a long time. If I wake up, I'm 67. If I wake up and I hear a 67-year-old voice, I go, time to quit. That's it. I'm done. And I don't hear it. I don't hear me as an old guy at all.
No, I don't think you sound old. I think authenticity is the key, whether you're on the air or doing auditions. You got to be authentic. And I think you, Chuck, I know you've always been authentic on the air. I mean, you care about country music. You care about what you're doing. You love your job, and it comes through.
Well, and I think all of us have been in that situation. Mandy too. Mandy, like we would, you get on the air, it's our happy place, and we communicate that.
Yeah, I think so. I've been fortunate in that by the time I started radio, it was conversational. That was all of the coaching that I got was, the thing that's prior to radio, my brother and I used to imitate Saturday Night Live commercials. Like we'd just play around with our voices and stuff and pretend to be announcers and whatnot. But I don't really have that.
What was your forte? What was your SNL?
I can't do it. No, this was 30 years ago. I don't even remember what it was.
Just
it was like I would hold up a shampoo bottle and say something about, how bubbly it was or something. I don't know.
Okay.
But by the time I got to actual coaching, somebody like a consultant or somebody was giving me feedback, it was pretend that you're talking to whoever the avatar for the station is, and you're just having a conversation. You're in the car with them. They're riding. Well, especially when we were at the ranch, our demographic was like a 54-year-old man who worked in the oil field, and he's driving in between jobs, and he's listening to you while he's in work mode, but he's kind of also chilling, and he's just hanging out. And so it was like you're talking to that guy. So that was the coaching that I had on how to be authentic in that role. And then by the time I got to mix years later, I was talking to my girlfriends because the demographic was my age. So it was, okay, I'm hanging out with my friends who are, most of them are moms. I'm not, but that's who I was talking to. So that was easy to be natural because I was just hanging out.
Well, plus she had really great, on-air craft as far as, hitting the post, engine, it wasn't loose or anything. It was boom, 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 boom. And, get everything in plus call letters and everything too. So,
Well, thank you. I had good mentors. You've got a certain level of freedom though with your home studio. So that allows you to be a parent and do things like coach baseball?
Coach a lot of baseball. Or did. I retired. It's my last season, but yes, coached a lot of baseball. I got 2 boys who play tournament ball.
Wow.
I coached the younger one, his team, and did that for 9 years. So required. It was a full-time job.
Was it stressful?
Once you're on the field, it's great, when you're just coaching, but dealing with, parents can be parents ruin.
Because my son should be playing shortstop, and he's not.
Should be playing shortstop. Yeah. Every kid. We only have 9 positions. We got to fill them all. Not everybody's a shortstop.
Yeah, and I can imagine the kids are probably much cooler about it than parents, for the most part.
Yes, I don't. The kids just want to play. It's a game, so the kids want to play, and try to move them around as much as you can so they learn different things. But it is the parents who think my kid is special, and they are, but not the way they think.
Speaking of kids and relatives and everything, so when you were in your heydays, the big rock guy and everything, how did that? I mean, were you ever out in public and, basically the family would say, hey, this is my brother or this is my dad or this is, and score points by saying,
my buddy's on the Eagle.
It's Chris Ryan.
Yeah.
It's the Chris Ryan.
I have a cousin who's a couple of years older than me who got me into rock music back in Gilmer. And he was in Dallas and I was on the Eagle, and oh man, I would hear stories about your cousin was in here the other day trying to get free beers because he's your cousin.
Awesome.
Saying he could get me concert tickets.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law, Jack, in fact, still does this. I'll be walking into some restaurant. I go, hey, there's Mr. KTBB. And I'm going, Jack, I just want to, hey, man, I just want to have the fish platter. Okay, brother. But yeah. And my mother-in-law, I'll never forget the time where this was like 30 years ago. And we're living in Chandler, and it was like a Saturday. And Mom says to me, I want to go to Brookshire's. Will you come to Brookshire's with me? I'm like, well, okay, fine. So, I throw on my shorts, and as Johnny Cash would say, my cleanest dirty shirt, and hair's all over the place. And so we're in Brookshire's in the line, and she's sitting there, and all of a sudden she goes, do you listen to KNUN? I'm going, Mom, you know who Chuck McKinley is? Mom. And about that time they go, no. And I'm like, thanks.
That's the thing that always got me is my friends would be trying to compliment me by saying, oh, this is my friend. She's on the radio. And inevitably, especially now, people are like, I don't listen to the radio. Like, what's the radio? Yeah. And I'm like, guys, you just got to lay off. You got to lay off this thing. Like, that doesn't matter. Like, let me just be friendly. I'll be fine. You don't have to throw radio in there.
I probably look at YouTube more than anything, just plain old YouTube. I'll get stuck on something. Dog videos lately for me. It's like we've rescued the dog and it's sleeping with our kid and that sort of thing. Yeah, because we've been talking about it at home about what services to cut. And I go, you know what? Oh. I watch YouTube a lot, except there's this show. Have you seen this show called Goliath with Billy Bob Thornton?
I've heard of it. I haven't watched it.
It's a legal show, and I'd always heard that it was 4 seasons, and the thing that I'd heard is the first 2 seasons terrific. The last 2 you had to be patient because man, I was like, were the writers on drugs when they did these last 2? But it kind of worked out. But Billy Bob is one of those actors where if he were to sit here and read the phone book, I would be enthralled. Yeah. I just think he's awesome. That and my new show that I like is Star Trek: Strange New Worlds. I'm kind of a Trekkie too.
But you're not wearing the shirt.
No, I don't have Captain Kirk jammies and stuff like that. Yes, Rosanna, call me Captain. I don't do that.
Oh, Chuck.
But I love Spock. What? We don't have those conversations.
Oh, my goodness.
In our house. Is things? Do we need to call something? Is this thing being derailed? Mm-hmm. What do you think?
Yep.
What have we covered? Is there anything we need to cover? What do you have? Anything else?
No, you've put me on the spot.
I know. I'm a terrible co-host.
I will say this. I missed the Edge in Dallas. I listened a lot in my 20s. I'm an alternative music fan. Of course, we didn't have anything here. Was listening online when that was new. Mm-hmm. Trying to think who was there. Maybe? Ao was
Jesse
there?
Jessup. Ao, yeah.
Yeah. Who was the female? Did you say Jessie?
Jessie.
Yeah.
Those afternoons. She was huge.
Yeah.
Jagger did the morning.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I listened a lot then. That was my favorite station for a long time. I was really sad when it went off the air. But now when I go through Dallas, I listen to Alt 1037.
Alt 1037. Yes.
Yeah. That's
my friend programs that I used to work with him at the Eagle. Yep. I'm on the Spot here in Dallas. I'm the voice of the Spot, which is
what is the Spot?
98.7.
Okay.
Well, that used to be
K-Love.
Yeah, K-Love.
Yeah. So what is it now?
Yeah. It's still oldies though, aren't they? Kind of.
It's like 80s, 90s.
Okay.
Cyndi Lauper and
Storm.
Yeah, I'll have
Sugar
to check
Ray.
it out. Yeah. So kind of adult contemporary, but probably upbeat.
Yeah, upbeat, poppy.
Yeah.
80s pop.
Yeah.
90s pop. Yeah.
Did you I don't think you crossed paths with Michael Storm, did you? At KISX.
Yeah,
did you?
He was weekends when I was middays.
Okay.
Wow.
And we were about the same age.
Yeah. So he put a station on here.
On the air?
Yeah.
Like over the air, not online?
Like it's Storm Broadcasting on 95.1.
95.1.
Great
What was
FM.
that?
It's called Great FM. Oh, it's great. And it is good. It's a terrific station.
Yeah.
What did 95.1, what was it?
Something out of Jacksonville. I don't know.
I think they were dormant, though. It was part
dormant
of Waller's.
for a while, yeah.
It covers Tyler and Longview, or?
No, it's like Jacksonville getting into Tyler, and it's spotty in Tyler sometimes. But he's got an app, so you can listen to the app and listen online. And we've been supportive of him because it's like, man, to launch a radio station now takes a lot of guts. And it sounds really good. Like the music's great.
Yeah.
It's adult contemporary, but it's pretty upbeat and fun. And he does a yacht rock lunch. Yeah. That's, kind of separates it. And then at night, he's doing what? 70s at 7, 80s at 8, and 90s at 9.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fun.
Is he on the air?
He's the voice of the station.
Because when we interviewed him, I said, "Are you going to get like a production, big voice guy?" And he goes, "No, I'm just going to do this." And at the time, I thought, "Oh, okay." But as I listened to it more, it settles in. He is the voice of the station.
Yeah.
I'm going, well, okay, it's a good strategy because it's not like you're going to hire a bunch of guys at 40, 50 grand a piece to come in and do stuff. So he's their talent, and he'll know what to do with it. And he sounds good doing it too.
He's like a one-man band though, Chris. He's doing everything. He's selling it.
Does he live there?
He just moved back. Yeah.
Okay.
He's been in Houston.
Yes.
I think he's down in Houston.
Yeah, doing the family business thing. But it's been neat to kind of watch him do it. And for a short period of time over the last several months, I've been in sales for a technology company. Not a good fit. Doing something different. Start Monday. But I was doing outside sales for the first time. And Storm's doing that too for his station. And so we would text each other and be like, how are the streets today? Did you get thrown out anywhere? Just commiserating on just how difficult outside sales is. But yeah, he's making it happen. He's actually got some advertisers on the air now, and he's programming it. He's voicing it. He's doing it all.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Sales is hard. Did you ever do sales, Chris?
No.
I did cable sales in 1990, and man, the experience taught me that salespeople have one of the hardest jobs. You're going to somebody and saying, "I would like your money," and it's in cable. It was one of these freelance things where we would come in and supplement whatever the local cable company was. So there was always a good chance if you came to somebody's door and said, "Hi, this is Chuck from United Cable," people would tell you to go away, And I'll never forget, I was in Opelousas, Louisiana. This is when David Duke was running for senator, the guy who was like the head of the Klan there. Ooh. And there was like a 3x5 foot Duke sign in this guy's yard. And I'm thinking, well, let's come to this, man. I'm going to go to this house and pitch the Showtime special. And I did. And it was, I think after Opelousas, I was going to have to go to Eagle Pass for Christmas. And Rosie said, no, let's just figure this out. And she ended up, God bless her, she found my air checks and resumes, marched over to KNUE, asked to talk to Don Chaney, and said, "Here, would you consider it?" And I was back by another couple of months.
So I guess you passed the handwriting analysis.
Oh, God. Yeah. Oh, you remember that too? I found a stash of stuff years ago when I was leaving, and they were cleaning stuff out, of the whole handwriting analysis. And Rosie would tell me, just make sure you don't lean to the left and you'll be fine. I'm like, okay.
Put it in your head.
Yeah, whatever.
So you had to do it too, Chris? What was your analysis? Do you remember?
No, I don't remember. I thought it was so weird, and
it is weird.
Okay, and my handwriting is so bad. I don't even know if they could read it.
Oh, mine is too, to this day.
Oh, yeah.
When we're signing off on birthday cards or something, I go, just put Uncle Chuck on it for me, okay, dear, and we'll do this.
Yeah, when we worked together, I had to learn to read Chuckish.
Well,
that was what I joked. I was like, okay, I'm going to learn to read his handwriting. And I started cleaning everything up and typing everything up and putting logos on it. And then the joke in our office became, Chuck will do it and Mandy will make it pretty.
Yeah.
Because it was like you couldn't interpret.
Well, no, she taught me she introduced me to spreadsheets.
I did. Well, what have we missed, Chris? Anything?
I think we've covered a lot.
Yeah.
This has been great.
Thank you so much for your time. I know you've got other things you'd rather be doing on a Saturday morning than hanging out with us.
Clean out the garage. So this is good.
I'd like to say if we could ever be helpful, let us know, but you seem to be killing it.
Oh, God.
There's nothing that we could do.
You're going to get me on CBS. What is it?
CBS 19. Brian Houston's the current voice. But he could probably point you in the right direction of who to talk to, is what I was thinking. Like, he'll know who the person is. I'll find out.
Perfect.
I'll let you know.
You're the best.
Yeah, sure.
All right, thanks,
and
guys.
Cut. Yeah. There we go. That's where the blade lands. This has been another episode of The Unknown Morning Show.
I'm Mandy Montana.
And I'm Chuck McKinley.
This is our show to explore radio,
podcasting,
gear,
and the gearheads that use the gear,
and making money with a hot mic,
and other stuff in between.
We'd love for you to follow us on social media as well. Follow us on Facebook at The Unknown Morning Show and Instagram at The Unknown Morning Show. See us on YouTube at The Unknown Morning Show.
Thank you for listening to The Unknown Morning Show.
I'm Mandy Montana.
I'm Chuck McKinley. And remember, be kind and rewind.